What a fascinating day of tennis today was. We got week seven, midweek recap, WTA Dubai, ATP Doha, ATP Rio, and ATP Delray Beach. Some results today that genuinely have season-lasting impact. Let's get right into it. So to start, we'll start out with WTA Dubai, reviewing all the quarterfinals, looking ahead to the semifinal previews. Starting off with Svitolina over Ruzic. This match went to 3 sets. Svitolina lost the first set. And was thinking maybe there was going to be an upset for Ruzic, who had just defeated Rybakina, even though got a little bit of help with that walkover. But Svitolina bounces back in the second and the third to make her way to a semifinal at a Masters 1000 event and a fantastic start to the year for Svitolina. And she just continues to be putting up the good results. So Svitolina into the semifinals. Then in the blockbuster match of the day, Mira Andreeva versus Amanda Anisimova. Andreeva gets the first 6-2. Anisimova battles in the second, wins at 7-5. Battles in the third. Third set goes to a tiebreaker, and Anisimova gets it done. Clutch win for Anisimova. Quality win for Anisimova. Excellent for Amanda. And this one, as Andreeva just falls short from making the semi-final in this one. Then in a show of absolute domination, Coco Gauff over Iala in straight sets in the quarterfinals. Coco Gauff goes bagel in the first and then 6-2 in the second. I felt like this was going to be a good match for Coco Gauff. Iala, to me, is kind of in a similar ilk to Coco, just doesn't do the things quite as well as Coco at the moment, but still awesome run for Iala to the quarterfinals. Coco was literally one like not even it wasn't even a difficult shot, one shot away from being out of this tournament, and here she is into the semifinals. When I was mentioning matches that genuinely have season ramifications on them, I really feel like this one, and more so the last one with Coco Gauff in a round of 16 match. This was such an important tournament for Coco to regain some confidence, and just really, it's not even just regaining confidence, just to bounce back from some disappointment from Australian Open, and to just bounce back well and making it to the semifinal in WTA Dubai definitely has to feel good for her. Excellent result for Coco. We'll see how far she can go in this one. And then the last quarterfinal was Jessica Pegula over Clara Towson. Clara Towson plays well in WTA Dubai, traditionally. And Pegula got her. Another good win for Pegula, and won it in 3 sets. Second set did go to a tiebreaker, but we got Pegula, Anisimova, Gauff, and Svitolina into the semifinals. That's not one, not two, but three American women into the semifinals of WTA Dubai. And then in terms of the semifinals, we got Jessica Pegula against Anisimova, and we got Svitolina versus Gauff. And now going into those semifinals, let's start with Svitolina and Gauff. They have faced off 4 separate times, and it is 2-all to the pair of them. They faced off twice in the Australian Open, once in 2021, so that's 5 years ago, where Svitolina got the win, and then again at the Australian Open this year in the quarterfinals, where Svitolina won in straight sets as well. When they haven't played at the Australian Open, Gauff has had Svitolina's number, including a win in 3 sets against Svitolina in the 2024 US Open, and also in 2024 in Auckland early that season. So it's 2-all. This is a big one for Gauff to see. This would be a huge win for Gauff because of her, because of the loss in the Australian Open, to see if she can bounce back, get some revenge against Svitolina. And for Svitolina, she's looking to match what she's done in the Australian Open, just bring that same level, and she could be into a final, and she could be on her way to a possible 1,000 level tournament. Awesome start to the year for Svitolina. Awesome match this will be. And then in the other semifinal, we got an all-American tie, Pegula and Anisimova. Now, they faced off 4 separate times, but unlike the Svitolina Gauff match, this one has been dominated by one of the players, and that being Jessica Pegula. Their first match was in 2020 in the Cincinnati Masters, which was actually played in New York City that year because of COVID, of course. And Pegula defeated Anisimova in straight sets in that one, and then they faced off on the clay in Charleston. Pegula got that one in 3 sets, however. They faced off in Canada, that one going to 3 sets as well, but Pegula got it done. And then in the Australian Open earlier this year, we had Pegula over Amanda Anisimova in the quarterfinals. So we got two rematches from the 2026 Australian Open in the semifinals of WTA Dubai. And we'll see, will there be some revenge from Anisimova in golf, or will Svitolina and Pegula lock in and make it to a Masters 1000 final? Now, these matches, I could really see them going anyway. I don't really have any lean. I think they're so tightly contested. It would be easy to just pick Pegula and Svitolina after Australian Open runs. But it's a new week, and we'll see how these matches go. I think golf is just. I think she found a little lightning in the bottle in this match. I think there's something psychological to a player being so close to being bounced from the tournament, and then kind of now playing with house money as Coco Gauff. Uh, and I think that's a dangerous spot to be in to play against. So I will be picking Coco Gauff over Svitolina in that semifinal. And then the other semifinal, I think Anisimova I think she might get that first win against Pegula. Wonder if it's a matchup thing. Maybe Pegula just got Anisimova's number, but a couple of those matches were from a couple years ago, and when Anisimova wasn't the Anisimova who she is today. So we'll see. We'll see in these fantastic matches. Exciting to see how these ones go. And then on the men's side, ATP Doha. Now there were some fantastic matches in Doha as well, and some very influential ones. Let's start off with Carlos Alcaraz and Karen Khachanov. Alcaraz lost that first set, went to a tiebreaker. Alcaraz loses it. He bounces back, does well against a very solid opponent in Karen Khachanov. You got to bring your B plus game, A minus game if you're Carlos Alcaraz to defeat Khachanov, and he brought that. He was able to get past them. He moves into the semifinals. Excellent work from Carlos. He just continues this year to find wins when he needs them. Then in one of the results of the week of the month. This is going to be one of those results that is going to be talked about for a while. I do not want to understate how big this was for Jakub Mensik, and not only for him, but how people are going to talk about him. There's been a constant talk on who is going to be the player that raises their level to an Alcaraz, to a Sinner level. And Mensik's one of those youngsters that a lot of people, he already has a Masters 1000 title. People are looking at him to see if he can take that jump and that step up. Kind of like Jack Draper did at the beginning of the season last year at this time, and a little bit later in the season as well. But this win for Jakub Mensik, showing that he can defeat Jannik Sinner on the hard courts in this match, this is going to propel a narrative of Mensik can do it. He can be maybe one of those players that can join in on that group, or at least not maybe join the Alcaraz Center, because look, we are far away from that. But maybe he could be one of those challenging. And to me, this result alone propels him up the leaderboard uh, in that conversation of the player that can challenge Alcaraz and Sinner. That's not named Novak Djokovic. And I feel like it's also important that he's a youngster and he still has so much room to progress. So this is a huge, huge win for Jakub Mensik over Jannik Sinner. And then on Jannik Sinner's side of the story, tough start to the year for Yannick. It's got to be a little disappointing, but if you really take a step back and look at it in total, it's a loss to Novak Djokovic in a match that he just played clutch and Novak just found a way. And then Jakub Mensik a good player, man. So it's gonna be concerning for Yannick Sinner, but I don't think there's alarm bells or anything like that. I expect Sinner to bounce back strong from these results, but this does put a little bit of added pressure on Sinner to get some results in the hard court tournaments before we head to clay. Because he used to be the king of the hard courts, but now, Alcaraz winning the last two hard court majors, this loss to Jakob Mensik. The hard court king title is you can't put it to Yannick Sinner anymore. It's at least a conversation, and it wasn't a conversation a couple months ago. So yeah. Then Andre Rublev over Stefanos Tsitsipas. This this is not surprising, I wouldn't say. Now, Tsitsipas, it's kind of been a one and done syndrome for him this year. He has one good result in a week, and then he falls off the next game, next match. He can't string results together really well. And Rublev, a player that, now that he's working with Safin now, he's appearing differently in his answers to the press and stuff. He seems a little, I don't know if laid back is the right word, but it seems a little different. And maybe we're going to see a little bit of a renaissance for Andre Rublev this season. And maybe that aspect of it could help him as he gets a little older, a little wiser. Maybe that can help him this season. But a fantastic result for Rublev as he makes it to the semifinals of ATP Doha. Then, I would say a surprise, Arthur Fils over Uriel Hechka in straight sets. It appears as if Arthur Fils is back to a very competitive level. It's awesome to see Fils back at this level and back into a semifinal ATP Doha. As I mentioned before and previously, we talked about, especially after this result, people are going to be talking about Jakob Mensah. Can he take that step up to challenge Alcaraz and Sinner? I think we have to look at Fils too. He's one of those players that has the raw tools and the talent to be able to challenge Alcaraz and Sinner. They are nowhere near to join them in their group at the top yet, but Arthur Fils and Mensik are two very interesting young players to watch that can possibly challenge Sin Karaz. So that leaves Alcaraz and Rublev as a semifinal, and Arthur Fils versus Jakob Mensik. And to preview these semifinals, first start with Alcaraz Rublev. They faced off 5 times. Alcaraz has 4 wins. Rublev only one, and Rublev's only win coming at ATP Madrid on outdoor clay. Surprisingly, that Rublev defeated Alcaraz on the clay in 2024. Besides that, they faced off twice in the ATP finals in 23 and 24, where Alcaraz got the wins there. They faced off in Wimbledon in the round of 16 in 2025, where Alcaraz won. And then in 2025, in the Cincinnati Masters, they also faced off in the quarterfinal. Definitely think Alcaraz is the favorite in this one. I find it hard to believe Alcaraz were to lose this one against Rublev, but Rublev, maybe he's turned a new leaf. Maybe he's brought a different elements to his game this year that can maybe frustrate Alcaraz. We will see, but I'm definitely leaning Alcaraz in this one as Alcaraz tries to gain that King of the Hard Courts title. Then Jakob Mensik, Arthur Fils. This isn't surprising that they faced off twice and it's one apiece. It's interesting that they played once at the ATP Next Gen in 2024, where Fils defeated Mensik. Of course, there's the different scoring in that tournament. It's a little bit of a wild card, that tournament. And then last year, actually, in Mensik's run to the Miami Championship, he had to go through Arthur Fils in the quarterfinals. This one, Fils Mensik, we've mentioned before. These are the two youngsters that can maybe challenge. They're two very exciting players. Uh, they would be super impressive to see Mensik defeat Fils and then face off against a possible Alcaraz in the final. That would be a storyline in and of itself. Or maybe Fils can bring his level once again and make it to a final in ATP Doha. I feel like a couple weeks earlier than we might have expected it from Fils. I expect Fils to continue his rise up in the rankings, and I expect him for sure to be seated at the French Open. Then, as we head to ATP Rio and some notable matches in that one. Let's start off with Tirante. Sneaky good start for Tirante this season. Two sets to love win against Francisco Cerundolo, the one seed, but there was a walkover in that one. But Tirante still played a fantastic match and earned himself into the quarterfinals. Then how about Vic Kopriva? A good couple weeks for Kopriva on the clay courts in South America, and just a solid win over Buruchaga in straight sets. Then Alejandro Tabila over Passaro. Tabila makes it into the quarterfinals of ATP Rio with that second set going to a tiebreaker and him winning it 7-love, notably. And then Juan Manuel Cerundolo, his brother's out of the tournament, but we still got one Cerundolo in the tournament. Juan Manuel Cerundolo gets the win over Hanfman in 3 sets, including one of the sets going to tiebreaker, and that's the set that he lost. So Cerundolo, Juan Manuel, good clay court player, and yeah, he's into the quarterfinals. Watch out for Juan Manuel. So that leaves some quarterfinals of Vitko Priva and Juan Manuel Cerundolo, and then Echeverry and Jaume Faria of Portugal are going to face off in a quarterfinal as well. And then the third quarterfinal is going to be Tirante Tabilo. Now, the fourth quarterfinal is going to be contested between the winners of Berrettini and Lajovic and Joao Fonseca and Ignacio Buse. Those matches are going on right now. As I speak, Lajovic is up 1 set and we're on serve in the second set. And then in the Fonseca Buse match, Buse just won the second set. And is Buse serving down 1-0 in the third set. So we will see how those matches progress. We could see a Fonseca Berrettini quarterfinal, which would definitely breathe some life into ATP Rio. But I mean, obviously Lajovic is up a set, and Buse is a tough opponent to face again. So we'll see how those matches progress. Right now, I think the favorite to win this entire tournament has still got to be Fonseca, but he's got to take care of business against Buse. If not, Delphi looking at Echeverry, looking at sneaky Vitko Priva, Tirante perhaps as well. And I mean, Jean Faria has been playing some good tennis as well. So I want to mention that. And then if in ATP Delray Beach, first match to mention is going to be Casper Ruud against Marcos Giron. Casper Ruud was able to get the win in that one. It did get a little dicey in that second set, went to a tiebreaker, but Ruud pulled it out. Excellent for Ruud as he makes the quarterfinals. Then in an All-American tie in the round of 16, Seb Korda over Mickelson. Second set goes to a tiebreaker, but Korda gets it done. Good win for Korda as Korda has started to string together some results in February. Good to see. Then upset, Coleman Wong over 7 seed Brandon Nakashima. Second set went to a tiebreaker. Coleman Wong got the job done in that one, clutched up, got the win. Pretty good start to the year for Coleman, and good to be quarterfinal of ATP Delray Beach in a tournament that has a pretty good field, especially for a 250. Then Flavio, he's really turned his season around. He entered this season with 0 wins on the season, and now he's into the quarterfinals. Solid win against Atman. Still got to see a little bit more for Kaboli in his tournament, but he's going to have that opportunity. So we'll see how Kaboli does later on in this tournament. And then Laurentian over Miomir Kecmanovic. We've seen Kecmanovic play tough matches against some players so far this year. I think of Tommy Paul, that match against Tommy Paul in ATP Dallas, where Kecmanovic got the win. And of course, this one going to a third set tiebreaker really could have gone either way. Tien would have felt a little bit unfortunate if he was not be able to get that third set because he won at least 6 games in every single set. But he got the job done. Good for Tien. Definitely looking for Tien as we progress further along in this tournament. So that leaves some quarterfinal matchups. Coleman Wong versus Flavio Cobolli. Flavio Cobolli should be favored in this one, but I would not be surprised if Coleman Wong pulls off an upset. They've also never played each other before. And then the next quarterfinal is between Tommy Paul and the winner of Taylor Fritz and Rafael Yodar. As I speak right now, it is currently in a tiebreaker in the first set with Rafael Yodar down 3-4, down 3-5 now, actually. But he is serving. So right now, it looks like maybe Fritz is going to make it. And if that were the case, here's the head-to-head of Fritz and Paul. They faced off against each other five times, alternating wins each time. They face off in St. Petersburg, in indoor hard courts, Stockholm indoor hard courts, and then three times in the outdoor hard courts. Their last three matches on the outdoor hard courts, starting in 2022 in Miami, where Fritz got the win in straight sets. And then they faced off in Acapulco in 2023 in the semifinal of that tournament where Tommy Paul got the win. And then Fritz was able to get the job done in the final of actually Delray Beach, this exact tournament in 2024. So yeah, we'll see what this matchup is. If it's going to be Tommy Paul versus Taylor Fritz, if it's going to be Tommy Paul with Rafael Nadal. Rafael Nadal and Tommy Paul never faced off against each other. This would be a very interesting match if really either way. But Tommy Paul Fritz would be a really fascinating match in terms of two of the top Americans facing off against each other in ATP Delray Beach would be a really fantastic match. And then in the next quarterfinal, interesting one, Sebi Korda versus Casper Ruud. Interestingly, Casper Ruud has the 2-0 head-to-head lead against Seb Korda, and they've only faced off last year, actually. They faced off one time on clay, which you would expect Casper Ruud to win that one. But they also faced off an indoor hard court in Stockholm, where Casper Ruud was able to get the win over Seb Korda. That one did go to three sets. I expect a tightly contested match in this one. And then the last quarterfinal is between, again, two Americans is going to be Lerner Tien versus Frances Tiafoe. Now, they've faced off one time in the past in 2023 US Open, actually, in the first round, where Frances Tiafoe was able to win that one in straight sets. And this one could be just such an entertaining match. Both players play such a fun brand of tennis. And yeah, this one can really go either way. Literally, I could see Tien winning. I could see Tiafoe winning. I expect this match to be literally a flip of the coin, and I would love to see how they play against each other. Just the tactics behind it, because they both are quite dynamic players, can do a lot of things well, and can really hit from all areas of the court, in my opinion. Um, I think a key in this one is going to be Tiafoe's serve. And actually, I guess both players serves and the return of serves. I think serves gonna be so important because once we get into rallies, I think the rallies is gonna be so dynamic. So many. I can just see some fantastic shots being played in this one, and this is one that I'm really really excited for. Tien versus Tiafoe, and then. As I was speaking, Taylor Fritz was able to get the job done against Rafael Nadal in the first set. He was able to win it in a tiebreaker. So it does look like we will be seeing Taylor Fritz versus Tommy Paul in the quarterfinal, but we still got two. Fritz needs one more set to win, and the match is not over yet. So ATP Delray Beach is starting to heat up a little bit. It was lagging behind Doha a little bit. I think it's more just because the schedule was a little bit. It was a little bit more delayed. Like the quarterfinals isn't even happening until Friday versus the quarterfinals of Doha happening on Thursday, for example. And obviously the time change and all that stuff. So yeah, ATP Delray Beach is heating up. Still waiting for Rio to heat up a little bit, but Doha is definitely for sure is heated up, and WTA Dubai. We're in for some fantastic semifinal matches in that as well. And this is going to be a new segment. I mean, this is one of my favorite tennis websites. It's you can see the URL is live-tennis.eu, and it's just a live ranking, ATP ranking, WTA ranking page. There's so much great information on this page, and basically what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna scroll through it and name things that I find to be interesting in the rankings. All right, so I think the best way to do this is actually start going from 100 to 1. So we're gonna start with the men's side today, and then go to the women's, and then do the women's afterwards. So let's start off at the 100 position. And I think it's just cool to just check in on the rankings every once in a while. Actually, I'm gonna go to 128, right around the Grand Slam. Top 128 players you think are gonna be Grand Slam. I'm seeing Luca Van Ash right now, 129. What happened to Van Ash? It was him and Feast. They were coming up similar times, and Feast just skyrocketed while Van Ash is now 129. Borna Coric as well, a player that, I haven't seen in a while. Martin Dams had some good weeks. David Goffin, Coleman Wong, 124. This is actually his career high. Good for Coleman. I expect him to keep going up. Dino Prismic, 119. I expect him to keep going up. He's actually lower down than I would have expected to see him. Rafael Dark, career high, 113. He's going to be rising, continue to rise. Jordan Thompson, 112, low for him. I mean, obviously, the injury concerns. 31 years of age as well is interesting. Didn't know he was that old. We continue. Benjamin Bonzi, 103. That is low for me. To me, he is definitely a better player than his ranking is right now. So interesting to see that. He's also playing in a challenger right now. So interesting in the Lille quarterfinals. Let's see, is he? I wonder. Let's see who Benjamin Bonzi is playing in the quarterfinals of this Lille Challenger. He faced off against Box. There you go. They're facing off against each other. In Lille, not a bad field in Lille. Van Ash is in that tournament as well. Kouame is in that tournament, which we saw in ATP Montpellier. But yeah, Benjamin Bonzi, we got Alexander Blok-Medjedovic, 101. He's dropped down from what I remember for him. Must have been due to time he missed last year because of the injury. Then we have Blocks. I expect him to continue to rise. Stan the Man, 98. Love to see Svaja in the top 100. To Burner slipping a little bit. Budu Chaga made it to the top 100. Got Green, Jesper De Jong, Arnaldi, Walton. Uh, that section is interesting. I can see some movement, possibly some of the players we mentioned before, taking their place perhaps. Kecmanovic 84, that's low for him in my opinion. Komisanya Buse, I wonder how he will go in the clay courts. He's a good clay court player. Then we got Nava Mueller. Whoa, Alexandre Mueller, 77th in the world right now. Damn, he has dropped a lot. Tirante up to 75th. Love that. Kovacevic down to 74. Whoa, he has dropped a little bit as well. Vitko Priva, Arthur Kazoo, 72nd. I would have guessed he was in the 100, maybe 80 to 100 range, something like that. Hubert Hurkacz, 71. We'll keep a close eye on Hubert as we will go later in the year. Ethan Quinn, expect him to continue to rise. Colin Juan Manuel Cerundolo, 68th. Good for him. I expect him to continue to rise. I low-key rate Juan Manuel pretty highly. Quentin House, nice. Spitzeri, good work. 65th. Matteo Berrettini, 62nd. He's gonna be an interesting one to see what tournaments he plays, see how many tournaments he plays, see if he can get seeded for Wimbledon. That's a big thing to see if he can get into that top 32 for Wimbledon. So we'll keep a close eye on Matteo. Um, Tabilo 57th, would not have expected that. Pericard slipped a little bit. Kamil Mazjak, Martin Fuchsovic, love to see that. Daniel Altmaier slipping a little bit. Sebastian Baez also slipping. Lost his points from Rio, of course. Corda into the top 50. Manarino, Marujan, Brooksby, Borges, Alexi Popper in top 50. Good to see. I expect him to move back up towards around a seed at a major. Echeverry, let's go, 44th. Mary Cilic and Dimitrov, 42, 41. The old guard still doing it, still in the top 50. Good to see. It's all about just staying healthy for them. Diallo 39th, Munar 38th, Fonseca 37th. So Fonseca's dropped a little bit. No surprise as has had a poor start to the year. Hugombert 36th. Obviously I expect Fonseca to continue to move up. Feast 35th. Okay. Pretty good for Feast all in all. To be 35th at the moment. Obviously he did play like this part of the year last year, so would not be crazy to see him kind of stick to this ranking for most of the clay court swing, but definitely the area for improvement in Feast's ranking is going to be from Wimbledon and really the grass court season on, because he barely played in the summer and the fall. So that's going to be the big opportunity for Feast. The fact that he's 35th right now, after all the tennis he's missed in the last year, Feast is a sneaky top 10 finisher for this season. He perhaps could find his way into the top 10. We got Chapo Mute 33rd. How is that possible? Makic, Rinderknecht, he's been slipping a little bit, Rinderknecht. He also hasn't been getting the results done this season so far. I wonder if he'll stay in the seeded range or if he'll fall out. Tsitsipas going in the right direction. Nakashima, this is career high. Interesting. Then Tiafo, Vachereau, Cam Norrie, 26. Sneaky one that made it into the top 10, made an ATP finals. I believe he might have been an alternate, but I believe he played at least if he was an alternate. Tommy Paul, 24th. I expect him to move forward. Leonard Tien also expect him to move forward. Career high. Lehechka, expect him to move forward. But if all these guys are moving forward, someone has to drop down. Looking at Runa for sure. Obviously, he's going to drop out of the top 20. Darderi, one of the players I'm most excited to see for the clay court season. And actually, before the clay court season happens, I'm actually going to make like a ranking video on players I'm most anticipated to watch for the clay court season, and he will for sure be on the top 10 list. Cerundolo, he's just been a mainstay in the top 30 in the last couple of years. So consistent for Cerundolo. Good title last week, of course. Then Rublev 18th. Curious to see if he goes up or down. Kashanov 16th. Draper, another one, got a circle for Draper. Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. He's one of the guys, if we're putting Tien, Tommy Paul up, I kind of do expect Davidovich to fall down. Mensik, 13th, new career high, and he has the opportunity to go as far as 2.895, so that would leave him 12th. He could perhaps pass Casper Ruud. It also, of course, depends on what Casper Ruud does in his tournament as well. So big opportunity for Mensik. 13th ranked for Mensik, new career high. His Indian Wells is going to be very interesting because if he has a good tournament there, he could make his way into the top 10, even though he is a little bit far behind them. And Bublik doesn't have many points to defend either, so it might be tough to get into that top 10. But he could definitely get to 11, and 12th is a good goal. 12th is a good goal as well. Then Ruud 12th, Medvedev 11th, Bublik, Shelton, Felix right now is 8th. Fritz is moving up. Demonor 6th. Musetti stays at 5th. Musetti could have been 3rd in the world if he just didn't get injured in the Australian Open. Heartbreak for Musetti. Zverev is 4th. Super tight. Zverev, Musetti, Demonor, Fritz, Felix, Ben Shelton. That's super tight. We'll see how that progresses. I think the Sunshine Double is going to be huge in that. Could see Shelton move his way all the way up to 4th if we're not careful. I mean, he was 5th only a couple weeks ago, I feel. Then we got Djokovic 3rd, of course, and then Alcaraz Sinner. And uh, so this is the part of the year where Sinner is going to have a big opportunity to make up some big points on Alcaraz because he didn't play this part of the year last year because of the suspension. We'll see if he'll be able to surpass Alcaraz after the Sunshine Double, after some of the clay court tournaments. Because I feel like most people expect Sinner to, but Alcaraz has got a lot of points. So that's that. And look real quick at the live ATP race. Never too early to look at this. Alcaraz, Djokovic, Demonor, Shelton, Sinner, Zverev. I expect all of those guys for sure to be in the final 8, which is crazy because that's six people, and I can't see any of these 6 missing. Then we got Mensik, Bublik, Felix. Yeah, this is where we get to a little bit dicier. Who's the players jockeying for that 7 and 8 spot. Mensik for sure is definitely going to be one to watch out for. Felix for sure. Musetti, definitely. I mean, Musetti. I mean, I love the way Musetti plays. Then Fritz, Medvedev, Tien. I don't think Tien will make an ATP finals this year, but he could be close. Um, and yeah, maybe Tommy Paul, perhaps. That's probably as low as I will go on the list. Casper? Nah, probably not. But yeah, interesting. And then if we head to the schedule, so who's playing Indian Wells, Miami? Who's already withdrawn? Obviously, Hogaruna withdrew. That makes sense. Any other players that have withdrawn from Indian Wells already? Juan Manuel Sereno is gonna have to qualify, so he's the best ranked qualifier in that one. Vico Priva, Kovacevic, Tirante are also going to have to qualify. Who got lucky and is in Indian Wells? Pedro Martinez, how is he in Indian Wells? Not able to qualify. Matteo Bellucci, how is he in Indian Wells not having to qualify? Interesting, interesting, interesting. And then let's check out next week as well. It's very Musetti is not playing Acapulco, so at least I don't think he is. I'll do a quick check on that. But I thought he withdrew from all the tournaments in this chance. Let's see. It says he withdrew from tournaments. Yes, he's out. Yeah, yeah. That's what I thought. We said he's out of Acapulco. That's exactly what I expected. No reason to have to play that tournament. Get healthy for the Sunshine Double in the clay courts. Clay, I mean, Musetti is the natural surfaces king. Not king, but he's really good on natural surfaces. Get healthy for clay. Get healthy for grass. Interestingly, Acapulco, no Fritz, no Demonor. Um, Acapulco top seeds Zverev, Musetti, Shelton. But Mussetti's not gonna be there, so it's gonna be Zverev, Shelton. Big opportunity for Shelton. Maybe another 500 for him. Maybe he can start racking up some 500s. Um, yeah, we'll take a deeper dive when the draws come out for this. Santiago Cerundolo. So all the guys that are playing, interesting actually. Actually, Fabio's playing in Delray Beach, of course. That makes sense. Dardaris, all the players that are playing in the South American clay court, they're probably going to stay down there and play these clay court tournaments. Santiago. And the last thing I want to check is who is the highest ranked player that has to play in a, or is not has to, but is going to play in a challenger. Interesting that Royer is the highest ranked player is going to have to qualify for one of these tournaments. In terms of a challenger, here we go. Filip Misalic going to be playing Saint Brieuc. So yeah, 86 ranked, going to be moving it down the challenger. Complete respect. Get your wins in the challenger. Get your ranking points in challenger. Um, I mean, it makes sense to play this tournament, in my opinion. But yeah, there you go. Quick next gen look. Yodar, Sakamoto, Kwame, Fonseca, crazy Fonseca still on this. Bukov Kier, slow start to the year. Diame don't know much about. Schwartzler, Blanche, Wandaluse, Angle. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. All right, so that's the men's. Let's look at the women's tour. Again, we'll start at around the 100 mark. Let's see who we're seeing. Massin Ingles, 125. Fruvertova, 118. Taylor Townsend, 116. John Jen. Sasnovich. Talia Gibson. Patch 105, a little lower than I would have expected. Ashlyn Kruger, 103. Donovan Vekic, 100th, lower than I would have expected. We got Lou Sun, Alicia Parks, Katie Volnets, two players that are very interesting. We'll see how far they can go. I expect them to continue to move their way up. We got Slovenian, Juvan, Rakamova, Potapova. This is definitely one. I expect Potapova to move up in the rankings for sure. Uh, Golubic, Palpadosa, 84th, Anna Blinkova, 83rd. Sonmez, 80th. Good for her, up to 80th. Her career high, 69th. Um, Bunzeva Bolter, Yakova, career high up to 70. Beatrice Haddad Maya, she got a top 10. Good for Beatrice Haddad Maya, Sona Sierra. Marengo, Kazatkina Frisch, Kracheva, Tatiana Maria 55th, Kudamertova 54th, Antonia Ruzic up to 51st in a new career high, 23 years old. We'll see if she can continue to progress at the young age. Buzas Monero in the top 50. Sophia Kennan, she was as high as 4th in the world, 44th right now. Haley Baptiste in a good spot. See if she can move her way up to a ranking in the majors. Also looking at Coach Giorgetto, maybe she can do that. Sarah Bejlik, 20-year-old, up to 38th in the rankings. Also see 19-year-old Czech Teresa Valentova. So two Czech youngsters. We got youngsters from the Czech Republic in both the men's side and the women's side doing fantastic things. Kirsty up to 36th. McCartney Kessler. And then we got some new career highs. No surprise here, Christian, Iyala, and Jinyu Wang. As we got Maria Sakkari 31st as she tries to position herself to be ranked at a major. Fernandez. Maya Joint. She's at her career high 28th. She's also only 19 years old. I feel like she had a slow start to the year. Kostyuk 27th. Her career high 16th. The way she was playing the start this year she's one of those players. She can defeat anyone on her day, especially on the hard courts. So excited to see how she does. I don't expect her game to translate that well to clay, but I have really no idea. I can see it translating well on grass, but we'll see. Ostapenko, Raducanu 25th. Zhang. Xinwen Zhang is 24th. Kalinskaya 23rd. Mertens, Schneider, Navarro, Samsonova, Eva Jovic, new career high 18th. I expect that to continue to move its way up. Claire Towson 17th. Messi Keys has definitely dropped. She's definitely, I mean, she hasn't played that much tennis recently. Then Osaka 15th. Then we got two Czechs, Nushkova, Mukova, Belinda Bencic down to 12th. Alexandrova Mboko, career high 10th. She's in the top 10, and I expect her to continue to rise. And this is the part, Tommy, the top 10 is super strong, super strong. Svitolina, Andreeva, Paolini. Interesting to see Paolini's clay court season. Nisimova, Pegula, Golf, Rybakina, Swiatek, Sabalenka. Rybakina is at a career high, interestingly enough, and she is closing in on Swiatek. Interesting to see if she can pass her. Coco Gauff's not too far behind either. All right, let's check out the live WTA. The race, we got Rybakina, Sabalenka, obviously. Svitolina and Boko Mukova. Mukova is an interesting one. I would right now, if I had to pick an eight, I probably wouldn't include Mukova in my eight to make the WTA finals. I would include Mboko, I'd include Sabalenka, I'd include Rybakina. Svitolina, I mean, it would be silly not to. The level she's playing at so far this year. And then Pegula, Andreeva, Goff, Nisimova, Swiatek. Those are the beginning ones. I feel like it's like 9 or 10 or 11 women that are fighting for those eight spots. It's gonna be super tightly contested for sure this year. Throw in Belinda Bencic as well. I would say one, two, even if it's a wild card, I would put her on the outside looking in though. But Bencic, Swiatek, Anisimova, Goff, Andreeva, Pegula, Boko, Svitolina, Sabalenka, Rybakina. So that's 10. Throw in Mukova. She already has a 1,000 win, obviously, so that's some great ranking point. And Eva Jovic, two wild cards for sure. Can make it. I'd be surprised if anyone else makes it into the top 10 or even top 8 to qualify for WTA finals. But yeah, so that's WTA race for the finals live standings. And then I was looking at some schedule stuff. Next week, a little bit of a quieter week for the women's tour. We got Pagula playing in Austin though. Jovic playing in Austin as well. I feel like the fan favorite tournament Austin is. I feel like the players like it too. They always, talk about some good stuff about it. I'm interested to see. I mean, what exactly does this mean with multiple Austins? A little bit confused with that. Are there two tournaments in Austin? Am I just unfamiliar with that? Let's take a quick look. Yeah, so I mean, next week is obviously the ATX Open. Then Indian Wells. I guess that would be a challenger tournament. That Austin, because during Indian Wells is a 2 week event, so I guess that would be that. Interestingly, Sarah Bezic is not playing Indian Wells, or at least supposedly she's gonna be playing in Antalya in a challenger. So interesting to see that. I guess she wasn't ranked high enough when the cutoff was made. No one appears to be not playing in Indian Wells, at least in the top 50. So yeah, next big tournament for the women is Indian Wells. This next week's going to be a little bit quieter, as we only have two 250 tournaments. Actually, one 500 and one 250. Merida being a 500 tournament, but not the strongest 500 tournament. But yeah. So I just look at the WTA rankings and some scheduled live race, and I think it's just cool to just check in. It's an awesome website, so it's a great website to just see the rankings. Because in tennis, the rankings are so important. They they determine if you qualify into tournaments. They determine if you're seeded in tournaments. They determine your matchups on occasion, and it's also just like the marker of how good you are as a player is where are you ranked. It's the first thing anyone asks. So it's important to just check in every once in a while, so as not to be surprised when a big player is ranked 17th. Like how they get there, it's it's really the standings of the tennis tour. So yeah, that's it for the rankings recap. As we look towards some fantastic finales in some 500 tournaments on the men's side, and then the 1000 at WTA Dubai.